Now 4:30 on WKYT this morning. Lexington police have named a suspect in connection to a shooting that left a man critically injured.
The Army says 3 soldiers have died and 6 others are missing after their Army truck flipped in floodwaters.
And in Mercer County, the sheriff says his office is investigating a possible case of animal cruelty involving some horses. That and more ahead on WKYT this morning.
This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning. It's your Friday, and we welcome you into WKYT. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Michelle Chamberlain. It's also National Donut Day.
Ah, it is
so
that.
It's a holiday, Bill.
I think I spotted one in the newsroom, or 2 or 3.
One.
Looks good. And today we have some of that rain coming in. Right now we have fog as an issue in parts of our area. Let's check in with meteorologist Micah Harris.
Yeah, and that fog's going to take over the viewing area for the most part. What we're going to be dealing with as we travel off into the morning and afternoon hours is not only the fog during the morning, but also a couple of rumbles of thunder by the afternoon. We're looking at the fog advisory back toward Franklin County, off toward Owen County, and you work your way just to the line there of Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky. That's where you see some prevalent fog. We're going through the day right around 80 degrees. This afternoon, I know you see the icons for some storms, but remember, it's mostly dry today. We'll show you where I expect these storms coming up in just a few short minutes.
Okay, we'll see you then. Storms did cause some damage in parts of central Kentucky. Take a look at what we found in Bourbon County, a neighborhood there. Strong winds knocked down large trees along Linwood Drive in Paris. One family told us they even had some damage to their home.
Our roof on our deck blew over our house into the front yard, and it left a dent in my mom's van.
No injuries reported in Bourbon County. Elsewhere around central Kentucky, heavy rain briefly flooded out some streets and roads.
Lexington police have named a suspect in connection to a shooting that left a man critically injured.
Police say they have obtained an arrest warrant for 30-year-old Leslie Parson. He is facing an assault charge. Police say the victim was shot early Sunday morning in the parking lot of Saddle Ridge Bar on South Broadway. WKYT's Kristen Kennedy talked to a friend of the victim.
A close friend of the victim told us he was trying to break up a fight in this parking lot when someone shot him.
My daughter was right there beside him when he got shot. She saw everything.
Jennifer Bryant says her daughter hasn't left Skylar Ray's side since Sunday. While police are not identifying their victim by name, friends say Ray was the one shot in the head outside Saddle Ridge.
Very hard-working young man. Would do anything. He had a heart of gold.
Ray is still recovering at UK Hospital. Bryant's daughter is helping him heal.
My daughter reads him every post every day and shows him her phone every day of what people are saying and what people have contributed. And she said he just gets the biggest smile on his face after seeing all that.
Late Thursday, investigators issued an arrest warrant in Ray's case. They were looking for Leslie Parson. He's facing one charge of assault and another for possession of a handgun by a convicted felon.
Friends of the victim have set up a fundraising page to help him pay medical expenses. In Lexington, Kristen Kennedy, WKYT.
So far, Bryant has helped raise more than $2,000 for Ray.
Lexington police tell us they've arrested 2 teenagers in connection to a bank robbery. Police say the Central Bank on Versailles Road was robbed at gunpoint yesterday afternoon. Now they've charged a 16-year-old with the robbery, and police say they also charged 18-year-old Audrin Bennett with evidence tampering in connection to the robbery. He's also charged with wanton endangerment for an unrelated shots fired incident on Appian Way over the weekend.
New this morning, the Laurel County coroner has released the name of the man who went missing after his canoe capsized in the Rockcastle River. He says the 70-year-old man was Leroy Stevens from Pulaski County. Stevens' body was found yesterday afternoon. The coroner says the cause of death is accidental drowning. A tragic story out of Fort Hood, Texas this morning. The Army says 3 soldiers have died and 6 others are missing after their Army truck flipped in floodwaters. Don Champion has the latest on the investigation of that and the search for those still missing.
The bodies of 3 soldiers were recovered from a rain-swollen creek in Fort Hood. The truck they were riding in was washed away from a low-water crossing and overturned. 3 other soldiers were rescued and are listed in stable condition at a nearby hospital. Helicopters, heavy trucks, and watercraft are being used to locate those still missing. Texas Governor Greg Abbott offered prayers and state help to Fort Hood. Earlier Thursday, he had warned the public about water dangers.
Water can look innocent, it can look harmless, but you can drive into it and be completely swept away.
Parts of Texas have been pummeled with rain in the last week. The Brazos River has already crested at a record level just 2 years after it had run dry in places because of a drought. More rain is expected through Saturday. Don Champion, CBS News.
The soldiers who died have not been identified. About half of Texas is under flood watches or warnings now.
The Mercer County Sheriff says his office is investigating a possible cause of animal cruelty. He says some horses recently brought to a farm may have been neglected elsewhere, and now he says everyone is making sure these horses are in good care. Garrett Weimer is tracking the investigation.
Mercer County Sheriff Ernie Kelty says his office has gone out to this farm to check on the horses every day since they found out about them earlier this week.
Animals can't take care of themselves. They have to be taken care of, you know, and that's why we have to make sure it gets done.
Kelty says the horses are being taken care of now that they're at this farm on Martin Lane, but he wants to know where those horses were before that and why someone wasn't taking care of them.
There are horses out there that we took photographs of that are, I'm not going to say in immediate danger, okay, but I'm not an expert, but there's horses out there that are definitely in need of care.
Sheriff Kelty says he's working with and has now met with a state agriculture official about the possible neglect of the horses. He says that's partly because of the sheer number of horses and partly because where the horses came from may end up being outside Mercer County. But regardless of who leads the investigation, Kelty says they want to get to the bottom of this.
It's definitely as serious to us, and we've let everybody that's involved know that this is very serious to us, and that we're doing everything that we can to gather all the facts and make sure those horses are taken care of.
In Mercer County, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
Sheriff Kelty says the man leasing the farm is cooperating with the investigation. Now, we've chosen not to name that man because he has not been charged.
We have some new information about the crash of a Navy Blue Angels fighter jet in Tennessee. The jet went down in Smyrna. That's not far from Nashville. The military says the pilot, Marine Captain Jeff Cuss, was killed in the crash. Investigators say no one on the ground was injured. The Navy says the pilot was beginning to take off during an afternoon practice session when the crash happened.
We currently have the crash scene sealed off, pending an investigation by the United States military and the FAA.
The Blue Angels were practicing because they were scheduled to perform at an air show in the area that weekend. Investigators say they are not sure why the jet crashed.
We've learned the man police say shot a Madison County Sheriff's deputy had a lengthy criminal history. Police say Daniel Pigg shot Deputy Kevin Crutcher Wednesday afternoon following a traffic stop on Arthur Jackson Road. They say the deputy returned fire, killing Pigg. Deputy Crutcher was treated and released from UK Hospital. Court records show Pigg was convicted on drug and theft charges over the last few years and was out on probation at the time of the shooting. Investigators say the deputy was shot in the left side of his abdomen.
He's doing well. I spoke with him this morning. He's sore naturally, and go through different emotions when I spoke with him.
Deputy Crutcher is currently on administrative leave from the sheriff's office, which is standard procedure after an officer-involved shooting.
Franklin County leaders say they'll be talking to fish and wildlife workers today about a coyote that's been spotted in the neighborhood. People in the Silver Lake neighborhood say they've seen the coyote early in the morning this week. The spotting has a lot of people concerned there. County leaders say they'll see what can be done to move the coyote elsewhere. This happens in residential areas from time to time.
That'd be scary.
Yeah, certainly. WKYT this morning just getting started. 4:39 is our time.
How to get your pets ready for a new baby in the house. That's coming up on WKYT this morning.
Had a little fog issue early this morning. We get into your afternoon and off into the evening hours. There is a chance of rain, but it's not a great chance today. The better chances this weekend. I'll have that in your forecast coming up.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
On Defender Radar Network, we are good to go early this morning. No rain out there. And as you're walking out the door, it's not rain you're having to worry about. It's a little fog, some patchy fog here and there, and especially back toward the northwest. Now, where you run into that fog could be pretty dense. Most of this isn't extreme fog, but it's something to watch out for early this morning. Temperatures, they're in the 60s. We're 66 right now in Monticello, 66 in the London-Corbin area. And you work your way across the region, we're in the mid-60s. We go into your afternoon back in the 80s, but it's right at 80 degrees. And then we bring in that rain chance later on this afternoon. Remember this, though. This is not a good rain chance today. Actually, most stay dry, so it's a small chance. And the best chance for that is going to be south of I-64 in the far southern zones. That's the best chance for that. Let's go off into tomorrow. We wake up tomorrow morning with a small chance of rain. Remember, tomorrow morning through about noontime is about a 30-40% chance, especially back toward the western zones. But then you get through your day and you're going to see pretty widespread showers and thunderstorms. They'll be on and off. You will get breaks here and there, but it's also a marginal risk for a couple of isolated severe storms like we saw yesterday. Not many people saw severe weather yesterday. It was about 2 or 3 warnings, and that was about it. It's pretty much what we're looking for tomorrow. However, I don't want you to get hung up on that and caught up on that. Remember, these strong storms, you're still talking about extremely heavy downpours and also a lot of lightning. So even if they're not severe, they'll feel severe once they roll over you. I can promise you that. So it's for today, it's mainly south. Most of that stay far south, even right around the Cumberland Parkway and just south of that. Then we work our way into tomorrow and off into Sunday. Then you're talking about storms likely there in the forecast. Here's your 7-day forecast and what you can expect the next few days. And we're looking at those temperatures dropping off the map the next several days. Saturday and Sunday look like your worst days. And then we head toward next week in the 70s, staying mainly dry. All looks well for your forecast next week. But this weekend, we're holding on to rain back in the forecast once again with those showers and thunderstorms. Just know this, guys. Better have a plan B just in case. We'll see how it turns out. But remember, it's on and off. So you'll get some breaks. But when you don't get those breaks, they'll be heavy.
Pretty rainy tomorrow, it looks like.
Look like that,
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike. A new baby is a big adjustment for everybody in the family, even a cat or dog.
In today's Mom's Everyday Minute, some advice for pet owners.
Hi, today we're with Brianne Stotts from Teacher's Pet Training, and we're talking about baby-ready pets, how to have the dog or the cat at home ready to bring the baby home. And you've got great ideas, great tips.
Yeah, so the number one thing we always recommend is making sure your pet is as physically healthy as possible. We also recommend that you think about the new sights, sounds, and smells that are going to come into your house. So a lot of animals may not be familiar with a baby crying. So if you can find either a clip on YouTube, or they make CDs for this, where you can play a little bit of the sound of a baby crying and then pair it with something good for your pet. So play the crying, feed your dog a treat.
Also, there's the smells that come along with a baby.
Yes, yes. So you can do baby powder or some of the lotions or shampoos that you might use with the baby. Again, put some on your hand, let your animal sniff, and then feed them a little treat or something, so it pairs that association between baby smells, predict good things for me. So we do recommend that you get your dog used to walking with the stroller ahead of time.
Thank you.
Sure.
For these tips and more, just go to WKYT.com and click on Moms Every Day.
And when WKYT This Morning comes right back on your Friday morning, we have a lot more news for you.
Yeah, we'll take a closer look into the investigation on how a little boy fell into an exhibit at the Cincinnati Zoo and what charges his parents could be facing.
Hey, good morning. Welcome back in. WKYT This Morning on the air on your Friday. It's 4:49. We've learned more about the investigation into how that young boy fell into a gorilla exhibit up at the Cincinnati Zoo.
Prosecutors in Cincinnati say they will announce Monday whether charges will be brought against the boy's family. They say they've been reviewing the results of a Cincinnati police investigation, but legal experts believe charges are unlikely. The boy fell into the exhibit Saturday, and zoo workers had to shoot and kill a gorilla that dragged the boy through some water. The boy's family says he's doing well at home after being treated at the hospital.
Investigators are taking a look at a car that they think could be connected to the disappearance of a Nelson County mother. Crystal Rogers has not been seen since July of last year. According to newly released court documents, witnesses told investigators the night she disappeared, they noticed a white Buick parked in a strange place at a farm owned by Brooks Houck's mother. Police consider Houck to be a suspect in the case. Court documents say his grandmother owned a white Buick then, but later sold it. The grandmother was subpoenaed to appear before a Nelson County grand jury last month, but she invoked her Fifth Amendment rights.
I know it's her grandson, and I know you're going to try to protect your family, but do the right thing and come forward.
Police say Houck's grandmother is not a suspect, and her attorney said just because she won't testify does not mean that she has anything to hide.
Presumptive Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump picked up a key endorsement. In a newspaper column, House Speaker Paul Ryan said he will be voting for Trump. It's the first public backing Ryan has given Trump. Also, Democratic frontrunner Hillary Clinton said at a rally that electing Trump as president would, quote, be an historic mistake. A Thunderbird's fighter jet pilot managed to safely eject from his aircraft just moments before it crashed in Colorado. It happened just after an aerial performance at the Air Force Academy's graduation. President Obama was there giving a commencement speech. The pilot, Major Alex Turner, glided down using a parachute and was not injured. The president later shook his hand and thanked him for his service. The jet crashed in an open field and no one on the ground was injured.
It looks like it impacted the ground, skidded a little bit, but it is, you can expect it is a total aircraft.
Investigators say at this point they're not sure what caused the jet to crash.
A university is reaching out to students of a Central Kentucky college that will soon be closing. St. Catherine College in Washington County is planning to shut down next month. College leaders blame a decline in enrollment sparked by a decrease in student aid. Morehead State University now says it will waive its $30 application fee for St. Catherine students who want to apply for admission and scholarships there. Governor Matt Bevin announced that Kentucky State Parks will be soon receiving millions of dollars in extra money. It's part of a new Refreshing the Finest campaign. The General Assembly approved giving the park system an extra $18 million in state funding. That money will be used to improve safety at parks and to pay for structural repairs as well as painting and some other upgrades. The campaign will be carried out over the next few years.
And we've seen the parks slowly deteriorate, and now we're swinging back. So it's very gratifying. It's a lot of fun. It's an exciting time to be in state government.
State leaders say Kentucky state parks account for nearly $900 million in tourism spending every year. And they acknowledge this is a drop in the bucket to get started, but an important drop in the bucket, they said, to refresh those parks.
Something they actually needed, right?
Right, and something that the state's been very proud of for many years. Come see us in Kentucky, right? 4:53 is the time, and coming right up, a look at some of the stories we're working on this morning.
We'll also have another look at your morning forecast. That's coming up.
Good morning. Welcome back in. 4:56, the time rolling toward the 5 o'clock hour on your Friday.
Yes, it's Friday, right?
Right, good deal.
So now it's time to take a look at some of the stories we're working on this morning.
Lexington police have named a suspect in connection to a shooting that left a man critically injured. Police say they have obtained an arrest warrant for 30-year-old Leslie Parson. He's facing an assault charge. WKYT's Mike Byer continues our coverage on this investigation coming up at the top of the hour.
Also coming up at the top of the hour, we've learned why boxing legend and Kentucky native Muhammad Ali is still in the hospital. A family spokesman says that Ali is being treated for respiratory issues and he wasn't expected to stay in the hospital long. WKYT's Mark Barbara will have more details on his condition coming up.
All right, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Well,
hopefully he gets better
hopefully
soon.
Does well. All right, most of us noticed some fog on our way in this morning. Let's check in with meteorologist Micah Harris.
The good news is that's all you really have to deal with. There is a fog advisory for only a couple of spots. You got to work your way back towards, say, Frankfort there in Franklin County, and then head up toward, say, Henry County down 71. Those are areas that you're going to be dealing with running into some of that fog. Patchy fog elsewhere, so it's not widespread across the region, but just heads up for that as you're heading out the door. Once we get through the day, it's mainly dry through the day. Then we see more rumbles in the forecast later on this afternoon. That's mainly for the southern half. I'm going to show you that. Talk about your wet weekend forecast within another 2 hours of WKYT News in just a couple of minutes.